In this episode, I'll show you exactly how to create a thriving educational garden at your school. I'm Leila Mireskandari, your host, and this is episode number 29. We'll cover common mistakes, practical steps to success, and ways to make it manageable even with a very busy schedule. Let's get started. School gardens are hands-on teaching tools that go far beyond just growing food. They engage students in science, math, language, arts, and social studies through real-life applications. They build skills like patience, teamwork, and responsibility. They connect them to nature and help them understand where food comes from, as well as showing them that working with nature is better than against it, which means environmental stewardship. When done right, school gardens can transform classrooms, inspire students, and create lasting impact. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do these. Let's address some common mistakes that I see schools make all the time when they're growing a garden. Number one mistake, and the biggest one, is building gardens that are led by parents. If you are a parent listening to this, I want you to stay because I will tell you how you can help. But while parents have the best of intentions, the school gardens that are led by parents are often chaotic and unmanageable. They're not designed for education and they're rarely connected to the curriculum. Over time, parents burn out, leaving the teachers to pick up the pieces, which is much harder than if the teachers did it themselves in the first place. The second biggest mistake that I see teachers make or schools make is when the garden project is an extracurricular. Gardens that run outside of classroom time don't work even if the teachers run them. They're seen as optional, so they lose focus and often get neglected. Plus, they take a lot of time, personal time from teachers, time that they need for their persons so that they can stay sane and perform with high standards as a teacher. Mistake number 3 is that often school gardens are overcomplicated or way too conventional. Conventional school gardens are very high maintenance and they require a lot of summer upkeep. If your volunteers are not that committed, your garden will fail, and if your volunteers are committed and caring, they will end up burning out. On the other hand, elaborate and complicated tools such as grow towers and hydroponic systems they need a lot of expertise. They have huge learning curves and need constant supervision, which again, we end up with frustration and burnout. Most abandoned school gardens you've seen around are likely parent-led or not integrated with the curriculum or have complicated equipment or are conventional gardens, or all of the above. But there is a better way. Successful school gardens that are easy and educational have these features. First of all, they're student-grown. Everything is done by the students, 100% hands-on. Number 2, they're teacher-led. Teachers guide the process, ensuring that the garden is connected to the curriculum. Number 3, classroom time. All of the work happens during classroom time, making it an important part of the learning experience. This approach is sustainable, impactful, and educational. After over a decade of trial and error and research and studying this and being on the ground full-time growing school gardens, I've found that this is the only way to create thriving gardens with ease. Now, how do you do it? To make this whole process easier on yourself, I recommend a 2-phase plan. Phase 1 would be growing a classroom garden. I've talked about how amazing classroom gardens could be in detail in episodes 6 and 7, if I'm not mistaken. But let's talk about the steps of how to do it. First of all, you can use very simple supplies like seeds and soil and sunny window, sunny window, sunny window, sunny window. I cannot emphasize the importance of sunny window enough. There must be a sunny window that gives your seedlings at least 4 hours of sunlight somewhere in your school. Go find that sunny window. If not at all, that's the only time that I'd recommend you considering grow lights. But grow lights often don't work as well as natural sunlight does. And you have to focus on just doing the plants, the seedlings, growing seeds and taking care of seedlings. I have 2 guides for you, one for selecting your seeds and one to grow seedlings in a school environment, in a classroom environment, that I will put in the show notes. A classroom garden can be highly impactful, teaching science, math, and more, and producing impressive results. You don't need an outdoor garden to be impressive with a garden. This phase helps you build confidence, integrate gardening into your curriculum, and establish routines. But bonus, you don't have to worry about anything because your garden project ends at the end of the school year with no worrying about summer maintenance. And you can do this with the next cohort of students all over again next year. Many of the teachers in my programs don't even think about going to phase 2, an outdoor garden, because they hit all their educational goals with a classroom garden every year. Now, phase 2 would be upgrading to an outdoor garden. Even if you are teaching in a warm climate, starting indoors is essential for your success outside. So you essentially have to do phase 1 anyway, even if you have an outdoor garden. So why not start there for the first year and go to the second phase in the second year? Outdoor gardens bring new challenges like design, maintenance, and environmental factors. So breaking the learning curve into two phases would make it much more manageable for you. If you plan to do this on your own, I strongly advise you to do the phase 1 first year. However, with my programs, OASIS programs, you can do both of these phases in 1 year because you will get tons of support with everything done for you essentially in the programs. Now, here's how to grow this garden, phase 1 and phase 2, step by step. So let's go to phase 1, growing a classroom garden. Number 1, you set up your workstation and your caring station or your nursery. Your workstation is actually your classroom, and your nursery is in front of that sunny window that I told you go find. Sunlight is so important. Go find that sunny window. I'm not kidding. That makes or breaks your project. Number 2, choose seeds that are easy to grow and match a school schedule. If you are going to phase 2, the first year, those seeds need to be in a way that they produce harvest for you at the end of the school year or in fall, not during summer, because you want to reduce summer maintenance. One of the guides that I have for you in the show notes is all about choosing those seeds. Now, next step is writing those lesson plans to grow during your class time. Writing all the lesson plans at once is very important. You don't want to be writing them as you go because you want to have everything in mind when you're writing your lesson plans. Yes, you can tweak them as you gain experience, but it's important to have everything, the entirety of growing the garden laid out in your series of lesson plans. Now, number 4, grow those seedlings week by week according to the schedule that you have set and have put in your lesson plans. Number 5, assign weekly tasks to your students, teaching them about responsibility and teamwork. And again, that needs to be also incorporated into your lesson plans. And number 6, plan what you'll do with those seedlings. Are you going to be, giving them to the kids to take home and plant in their gardens? Are you going to be putting together a market as an entrepreneurial project so that they can sell their seedlings and gain, raise funds? Are you going to be donating them to community gardens around you? If you have a phase 2 this year, that means that some of those seedlings need to be planned to be taken and planted outside in your garden. Whatever you do, make sure that you have a plan for it and you do it. But again, that's important to be in your lesson plans. Try not to create work outside of your prep and class time for yourself as much as possible. Now, let's talk about phase 2, growing an outdoor garden. On top of everything that you need to do for phase 1 to grow your seedlings indoors, you also have to do these steps. First of all, you need to design a very low maintenance garden that is not a conventional garden using techniques like hugelkultur. There's a guide in the show notes about hugelkultur for you, don't worry. Sheet mulching, companion planting, and creating biodiversity in your garden with the selection of your plants as well as biodiversity in the soil. Number 2, use student-led planning to involve them in the garden design, building, planting, and care. That needs to be inside your lesson plans. Yes, for phase 2, you also need a cohesive collection of lesson plans that helps you build this garden. Build resilience into your garden with biodiversity and smart planting strategies. That's very important. You don't want to build a garden that's boring and, conventional and needs a lot of maintenance during summertime. All of these things that I just told you are obviously considered and incorporated into my Oasis programs, which I'll tell you about in a minute. Each step is designed to keep gardens manageable, educational, and impactful. You skip any of these and you're in trouble. The secret to making this all work, as you might have guessed by now, is having the right collection of cohesive lesson plans, because a garden project takes at least 10 weeks, and every week it needs at least an hour of a lesson during your class time. Remember, it's all going to happen in your class time without having to magically create time out of nowhere, because it all connects to your curriculum. You'll be using your math time and your science time and your language time to grow this garden. Good gardening lesson plans do these. First of all, they align the gardening activity and tasks with the curriculum subjects and learning expectations. Number 2, they provide clear step-by-step guidance for teachers to teach and for students to act. Number 3, they ensure that every gardening activity not only builds on learning objectives, but also contributes to the timeline of garden design and building and planting and harvesting and all of that in a timely manner. We all know that growing tomato seedlings in the middle of May is way too late. You want to have all of that incorporated into your plans. Writing these plans take time and expertise. Without them, gardens often fall short of their educational potential and also become a burden on the shoulders of the teachers. Teachers are busy, and writing effective lesson plans can take dozens of hours. That's why I have created the Oasis program series. Oasis series include 3 main programs. Oasis Classroom, which is, everything you need for phase 1 to grow an impressive garden. Oasis School, which is everything you need for phase 1 and 2 to grow an outdoors regenerative school garden without even, having to purchase any raised beds or containers. Number 3 is Kaha Oasis, which is everything you need for phase 1 and 2 to grow in a sub-irrigated planter garden with the famous Kaha planters. Perfect for any school, especially those with limited space. Each program includes ready-to-use lesson plans, student booklets, classroom posters, and one-on-one coaching with me to ensure success. If you're a parent listening to this, I want you to know that even though you shouldn't be running this project and you should leave it as 100% hands-on teaching tool for the teachers to teach in, you still have a crucial role in this project. Fundraising for garden supplies as well as lesson plans is important. Also, summer maintenance. These are some examples of things that you can do to support this school garden. What you can do right now is to send those amazing teachers in your child's school to my annual School Gardens with Ease webinar. It's free, it's 70 minutes, and it gives them tons of information. It also introduces them to the Oasis programs. Thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful and took you hopefully off the wrong path and onto the right path towards an amazing school garden. To get those guides that I mentioned throughout this episode, or to find out the link to the free webinar that you want to send the teachers to, or if you're a teacher you want to go and register for that webinar, or you want to know about the Oasis programs, go to the links that I will put in the show notes. Hope to see you in the programs. Can't wait to help you grow amazing, productive school gardens.